Today, we break ground on a beautiful new zoo called Wildwoods Zoo. And in addition to that, we're also making a nice little habitat for our little trash pandas. Without further ado, welcome to Wildwoods Zoo. Well, welcome everyone. Oh my gosh, we have a new DLC. I just felt like we just got started with the conservation DLC. I'm kidding, of course, that wait was agonizingly long. But welcome everyone to Wildwood Zoo. I'm so happy that you guys are able to kind of like stop by over here. I know that you're probably watching like a million other people's videos, but it just makes me super happy that we always have our little leaf pile over here. We always have our little community. So welcome everyone. We're getting started on a beautiful new zoo. I really wanted to bring back those sugar pine vibes and a lot of that boggy bottom theming. Both of my favorite kind of like things that we've ever done on this channel. So yeah, we're just jumping right into all this right now with a whole lot of inspiration from Pinterest. So yeah, I kind of developed like a Pinterest board this time around for this zoo. Super awesome platform just for being able to figure out that kind of stuff. But I saw this very interesting kind of like woodsy log cabin with like that triangle kind of shape. You guys probably know what I'm talking about if you're looking up like log cabin inspiration or anything like that. And I really wanted to build with that because it just seemed like such an iconic looking feature. Yeah, essentially. That I really wanted to build with. And essentially a lot of work went into this. A good majority of this speed build that you're watching today will consist of, you guessed it, the entrance. Yeah, so I do apologize if you're looking for animals. You guys can fast forward in the video to that kind of stuff. I do like an insane amount of work on these raccoon exhibits. That's one of the main complaints I have about the Twilight DLC, is that they're all small animals. And usually they don't really make for interesting speed builds all too much, so I'm gonna figure out some interesting ways of kind of dabbling in that and trying to make these habitats very interesting, just to help you guys stay engaged. I know you guys are like, oh my god, we'll watch anything, Leaf, like, yeah, we trust you. But it's like, no, I want to make something that I would watch myself. So we are working on all of this, and I'm taking this book out of Leader's kind of book. Leader is a very awesome Planet Zoo content creator. He does some of the most impressive builds in the game, and he has this kind of technique. I don't really use it all too much in this build, but I am hoping that I am able to really bring it throughout the rest of Wildwood Zoo. It's essentially using the birch pieces as kind of like a siding for these conservation slats. And it really gives this beautiful effect where it's like, yeah, these have this nice interior inside of them. But we don't really do much with it in this episode. I build them, and I kind of waste all this time, really. Just trying to make something that looks good with them. But at the end of the day, I kind of just do something else. Right over here, before I even use those pieces, I am making a custom door. I'm making like a custom door frame and all this stuff. I don't do any interior decorating in this episode. I'm not really sure if I want to just this early in the build. I know that really wouldn't be so interesting for you guys. Maybe I'll even make that a speed build. I'm not really sure. But going back a little bit, by the way, a huge shout out to Frontier for allowing me the chance to preview this DLC early, be able to release this video a day earlier than it's supposed to come out. That really caught me by surprise, and I messaged one of my buddies about this, and I was like, are you seeing this? Is this, like, correct? And he's like, yeah, they're finally letting us do it, so that is very interesting right there. Super excited about that, so I hope you guys are able to see, like, you know, my true raw opinions about all this stuff before you actually do get the pack, because I do think it actually advocates for the consumer at that, where it's like, it doesn't really build this false sense of like urgency to buy the DLC. It really allows you the chance to think over the course of a day, really, about, is this really for me? And my thoughts at the end of the day, if you're a builder like me, there's some really insane pieces. If you like North American wildlife as much as me, and Australian wildlife, that's the perfect DLC for you. I just really do like those two kinds of things over there. So I do like the Twilight DLC. I know it's not in a lot of people's radars, though. But I hope that we're able to have a lot of fun with this, because this was a perfect excuse to start making another North American zoo. And I fiddled around with the idea. I've had many people be like, Leaf, you should go back into Sugar Pine. You should do like a Sugar Pine Season 2 where you kind of expand into like a Mexican area and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I really do want to do that. I just don't have the time right now. And I know when I say that and I'm starting a whole new damn zoo, yeah, I just really don't have the time, guys. I'm sorry. But I do have the time to make this very beautiful entrance. So you can see I am working with those panels right there and trying to make it feel as realistic as possible. But I kind of opt out for that kind of stuff, and I do start using the stained wood pieces. I just think they have a much more cleaner look to them. I think they're a lot more versatile, especially cutting down on piece count, because those small little birch pieces, the planks themselves don't really contribute much to lag, but those small little, like, twigs, I guess, they do. And I don't really want to do that throughout the entire zoo. I want you guys to actually be able to load into this one, unlike City Conservation Center, which is like burning all my friends' PCs right now because they're all building in it. Oh my god, it's crazy. But you guys can see what I'm trying out over here. I'm just trying to do a custom roof. This is probably one of the only custom roofs I'll do in this damn zoo. Just because custom roofs are literally the bane of me. I just really want to have this look like, I just want the entrance to be like nice, big. I wanted to have this beautiful effect on it to begin with. What do you guys feel about the border now? I know I kind of dabbled with this back in like the Malayan Tapir video, but what do you guys think of like the zebra stripes on the side? I know I'm kind of going like all in with like the Planet Zoo theming. And when Planet Coaster 2 comes out, I'm gonna need to find something else to do with that. But let me know what you guys think about that. I have a very awkward looking monitor. It's a really great monitor, don't get me wrong. It has like insane like sharpness and stuff like that. But the only issue is the aspect ratio really isn't the best. So it kind of results in these weird looking shaped videos. So I kind of gotta work around with that. Also, I start by adding some decals on the roof over here. I end up taking them off at the end just because I really wasn't feeling it. I'm not really confident in my decal skills just yet. I'm no like Mr. Caesar Creates or anything like that. I really need to figure out how to do that to begin with. But I hope you guys are able to appreciate what I did over there. I'll finish it up later, and especially I'm gonna get some good uses out of the leaf litter pieces. Those are going to be super awesome. And please guys, I do not litter. Stop saying leaf litter. I will never give in to that kind of peer pressure. Now, making our way throughout here in the entrance, I really wanted to at least start it before I actually did get to doing the interior work. So I do make sure that guests are able to enter only through the doors. I made sure that we are able to look right through the building in those big glass beams. By the way, it's repeated on both sides. No way I could do like a custom kind of like overhang on the other side. I put all this damn work into one side. Damn right I'm gonna use it on the other one. And yeah, you can see my issues with those planks right there. I really wasn't feeling them. So I took the time, I'm not sure if it was in a speed build or not, to recolor it to this nice beautiful orange color that I kind of selected. I'm really, really happy with the color palette that we're kind of going throughout with here. The nice bright red and orange really, really was one of my favorite things of like the Alaska area in Sugar Pine Zoo. So I think we're going to bring that back a little bit more. And I was just trying to find a new floor in here. I think I settled on the new Twilight flooring. Really beautiful piece, but I think I might change that up later down the line. Not really sure. But you could see me work on these little offices back here. So these are going to be fully decorated. Keep that in mind. I'm going to have like administrative stuff back there. Maybe I'll keep like ambassador animals in one. But you can look right through them, which I'm super excited about. And here I am getting to work on the actual foundation of the building. So you can see I'm working this all into one 4-meter piece. And then what I do after that, I just copy that same 4-meter piece all throughout the build. And that's just a really, really handy, easy way of kind of duplicating all those really awesome pieces onto the other side. Pretty much like that. Viola. There you go. It's easily mirrored. While I do wish we had a mirror piece in Planet Zoo, or at least like a mirror tool, there are easy ways to kind of acclimate yourself with the building tools and kind of look for those little cheaty little building techniques. What I'm also doing throughout here is doing a custom window, just because I always feel like these add so much more to builds. They always help you really define your zoo. It really helps it give it a lot more of a storytelling aspect, because stuff is happening inside those buildings. Half the time, I usually kind of like make blank buildings on the inside, but a lot of the time when you're working with a zoo like this, where I don't really have a lot of animals, which by the way, I planned this all out beforehand. Oh my gosh, that was so crazy to do. But we have a really awesome plan to work with. I kind of workshopped it a lot with my buddies, so they kind of gave me the sign off on it. That's like, yep, that's all ready to go. So it's going to be super awesome to see how you guys are like receptive to it. So it's going to be really awesome. I'm also working on this custom door awning, I guess. It's kind of like a bay window, but like not really a bay window. It's kind of like a pop-out window, or rather a pop-in window, because it's popping into the actual build itself. But I don't know, I just have that on all four sides. It looks really good. It looks really good, and I can't wait to get some like desks and office chairs in there, because it's gonna look super awesome being able to like look into where someone's working. I always find that super awesome at zoos, where you actually get to see like not only the animals but the people who like really operate behind the scenes back there. I always find that super interesting. What I'm also doing over here is working on that little hallway area right there. That would be where the ticket people would work, and just making sure that I'm able to take that stuff into account, make sure that I'm able to have this look good in the end. So I'm kind of making my way throughout here, and I'm also working on those little end areas, like the end caps of the building. I kind of centralize it back over there, and what I'm doing, because I'm not really the biggest fan of how the Twilight shingles look from down below, you can notice I actually threw in another roof set right below them. That's the Arctic roof set. It has a really awesome undercarriage, and I really want to take advantage of that. So I have that resting right below there, and it just works super awesome. Hopefully later down the line, I could actually show you guys how to do stuff like that. By the way, I am using free build in here. I just want to give that full disclosure. So you may see me using like gridded pieces in a non-gridded way. That's probably why. Free build still kind of works. Join the modding server. I think I have a link to that in like some of my video descriptions. Just look around for it. And yeah, you could get the updated version right there. Hopefully Kai updates it this go around too. So I hope you guys are able to use that. Now making our way over here, I also have a gift shop planned, so that's going to be super awesome to decorate. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for Keyboard Keeper's little plushies for the Twilight pack if he's still around. He always does such an awesome job with those that I can't wait to do that. I also have a bathroom at the entrance as well. I don't really show it off in a speed build. I think I kind of like glaze over it at a few points, but I just really wanted to build that off camera. I was extremely uninspired. Yeah, we should probably talk about this. I was extremely uninspired while I was building this entire zoo. Not the entire zoo, but kind of like this entrance area. I only got my mojo back for the raccoon exhibit, and I can't wait to show you guys what's coming next. Spoiler alert, it's the skunk. But yeah, I only recently just got my mojo back, and I'm just super excited about it. And here's where the fun really starts. So I really wanted to have this raccoon exhibit be super fun. And yeah, I was just so freaking excited about this one. I wanted it to have two habitats on each side. So you can see I have one to the left and one to the right. I have painstakingly gotten all three variations of the raccoons. So I have one melanistic, I have one intrinsic, or really albino rather, and I also have one regular one as well. So we have all these guys all together. And it's just super awesome, because that's something I want to do throughout this entire zoo as well, is show off the color morph. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little animal showcase earlier today, I think is when that will be out. I don't really know. This whole timeline's kind of crazy. But I really do want to take that into account, so I'm super excited just to be able to show off all those animal variations with you. What I'm also doing throughout here is just making sure that we have this be a nice smooth wall. Ideally, we would have like a piece or a fence tool that could do this for us. but unfortunately that doesn't exist, so I need to do it manually, which is kind of annoying. You can see I'm overlapping them at first, then circling them back to kind of like, how you say, like, make sure that it's all flush with each other. And then at some point I'm like, okay, I'm at the back end right now. It doesn't need to look pretty, it doesn't need to look clean. I could just have it more or less give that same kind of effect. And it looks pretty good in the end, I gotta admit. It looks very convincing. You would think I spent hours on that, which I probably did. So making our way over to this side as well, that's what I love about this habitat. I just was able to copy paste it, and that was super awesome right there. And I also want this to be a little bit more unique of a habitat, so I kind of have a little bit more of a geometric shape towards the back. I think that works out pretty well for it. And that little fence right there with like the wood beams I kind of fix up later. Raccoons can still escape, so I needed to make sure that they didn't escape. And you guys see that I do have guests in here right now. I needed them in here for scale, just to make sure what I'm doing makes sense within, like, you know, the realistic aspects of the game. So I kind of let the guests in for a little bit, and I do apologize if they're a little distracting. Usually I use Steve for scale, the little Steve Irwin prop from the Outback pack, but right now I'm trying not to use mods in here, even if I do plop them down and remove them later. It's just something I don't really like to do in, like, you know, this build and City Conservation Center. It's just something I don't really like. But you know what I do like is making climbing frames. This one was super fun to make. So of course this is our little habitat for our albino raccoon. We gotta name him. Drop some name suggestions in the comments down below for our little albino raccoon. He's gonna be our little mascot, I hope. So what I want to use over here was all these new pieces. So we do have that bristle cone pine branch right there. And if you guys watch my scenery overview tomorrow, I want to say, I'm not really a big fan of the bristle cone pine. I thought it would have been a lot more useful. So I'm kind of forcing myself to use it in new and innovative ways, which I always love to see in Planet Zoo. So I'm using it to kind of complement the other tree branches and tree barks, just as a way to help it feel a lot more, you know, robust and help it feel a lot more useful. So that's what I kind of do right over there. And what I'm also using is a whole wide variety of different branches and trees and all this stuff. I really want to make the zoo feel like it's a realistic zoo. And a lot of the times realistic zoos, they don't really have the budget to afford like all the same consistent material. Sometimes they have to mix and match things a lot, and that's something I notice a lot in the zoos around here in New England. And keep in mind, I am building this ideally in the Pacific Northwest area, so I could use those big old redwood trees. So I'm really trying to focus on that kind of stuff right there. But all in all, I'm very happy with how realistic this feels. I'm really trying to take into account some inspiration from some of my favorite creators. Caesar Creates, I'm trying to take some from Leader, Just Goron, all extremely awesome builders that are extremely underrated. They're some of the best out there. So making our way throughout here, I am also developing a foliage palette. You may notice, Leaf, why are you putting all those plants on the pathway over there? That's just because I like to kind of group up plants in a certain way, and I want to have this be a nice concrete kind of layout throughout the entire zoo, so I want to make sure I'm using the same plants all throughout. So I'm putting like all those in one section over there, then I'll just move that little section of plants wherever I'm building, just to make sure I don't forget what plants I'm using for, like, you know, the interiors of habitats, the exteriors, all those kind of like off the beaten path areas, whatnot. Which, by the way, I am adding these animal doors. I should probably look these up while I actually am able to look this up. Yes, so these are some animal doors by, if I can just find them, by the correct person. It's not Eden Moon, even though I have some of those, like, in the zoo somewhere. Trust me, guys, I will be able to find this relatively soon. Decorative habitat doors, these are not by them. But nevertheless, I really do like using that, because I really want to make sure that we make this hyper-realistic, and that means we're going to do all different kinds of details, take into account all different kinds of details, make sure that we're able to really make something out of this, and really make it be one of the best damn builds out there that I've ever made. So I'm very excited about that. And I know where I posted that person's stuff before. Let me just get their name. If I just scroll up in Bronation a little bit under there. Mesani, Mesanii. And I do have them credited within the zoo, and I also have Lion credited within the zoo, because I did use some of his pieces throughout here. I used like his info signs, which I actually used to credit Lion, which I think is very funny. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that throughout the zoo. Also, really fun making the second habitat, because I was like, okay, I have all these concrete ideas on how to make these habitats. How do I make them more interesting? How do I make this build stand out from the one on the left? And I was super excited to do that. So I have this little rope bridge coming out from the holding area. And I also have like a little bit less plants in here, because these are being shared by 2 raccoons over here, the melanistic and the normal one. So I really wanted to have them get a lot more walking area throughout here. And yeah, I also used FreeBuilt to put that little hanging feeder right there. I thought that was super awesome of like an idea right there. I'm super happy about that. And what I also do is just a little bit of off-camera building. But what I do on camera is kind of develop the foliage palette for the surrounding area. So I really want this area to feel like it's very nice, very forested. I want this whole zoo really to feel cozy. That's the name of the game here, coziness. That is exactly what we're about here at Wildwood Zoo. So I really wanted this area to feel so inviting, so welcoming, and we're going to carry that out throughout the rest of the zoo. And I really do like the colors that we're working with over here. We have these nice deep greens that are being represented by, like, you know, all the foliage and whatnot. And we have these nice pops of orange and red, both by the roof set that we kind of chose, as well as the poppies in the ground. Those are going to be our kind of like distinctive flowering throughout the entire zoo. So I'm very excited about that, as well as the oranges of the leaves, like the leaf litter that we just put down right there, as well as the sidings of the buildings for the most part. Maybe I'll change them when we get to like a certain point. But that's really it. I'm also putting down some of Mesani's fences as well. I recolored them a little bit. Super easy, versatile set to use, and it really helps the build stand out a lot more. If you're new here, one of the things I always do love to say is that blueprints, they're there to help you. Lots of my fellow YouTubers, and very much power to them, love to make their own stuff, love to make like custom fences, love to make all these custom things, and I do too, don't get me wrong. But I really do appreciate the work that such as Mesani has put up on the workshop, as well as a million other different people who have made workshop blueprints for you to use out there. And I really suggest you guys try and do that a little bit in your own zoos, because you'll notice how much faster you'll build, and you'll notice how much better your builds will be. It's really a whole community thing, which I love to see. But that is really it for the majority of building in here. I am putting down some of these like finishing touches. So I have these conservation benches and like the conservation seatings, conservation bins and whatnot. And I also decorate the front of these entrance as well. Maybe I'll redo that later down the line. Maybe I'll contact someone within the Planet Zoo community to help me really make this feel a lot more like a realistic zoo entrance. But that's really what I do over here. I also love those hawthorn bushes right there. Easily some of my favorite pieces right there. But that's really it. And bam, we are moving on to the cinematics. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoy everything that we have going on, like whatever's on the screen right here. You guys are always the best. Thank you guys so much for supporting me ever since the very beginning. If you guys are back here after like the conservation DLC, we passed 10,000 subscribers, which is one of the best things I could ask for. Really, I feel so thankful for all of you guys. I feel so thankful for you guys. I feel so thankful for Frontier. Just always be thankful. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with the rest of the cinematics. I hope you guys enjoy, and I can't wait to see you all in the next episode of Wild Woods Zoo. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.